and welcome back to the Mindful Melbourne Maker podcast. My name is Kath and I'm a knitter, crocheter, knitwear designer and all-around maker living in Melbourne in Australia. This is my YouTube channel for sharing all the things that I'm making, and welcome. Thanks for joining me here. You can find me on Instagram as Mindful Melbourne Maker and on Ravelry as kathsmartin, and you'll find my knitwear designs, patterns on Ravelry under kathsmartin designs. Everything that I talk about today you'll find links for it in the description box below, along with patterns and yarns and everything like that. And thank you very much for liking and commenting and subscribing to the channel. I really enjoy reading everyone's comments and replying and making friends across the world, really, based on our mutual love of knitting. So thanks very much. Welcome. There's a couple of administrative things today. So this is episode 16. It's been quite a few weeks since my last episode, but this year has been crazy. So the fact that I'm able to make time today is wonderful, and I'm going to take it. So yes, episode 16. I had a giveaway on episode 14 for this beautiful yarn. So this was the Hot Jam Donut yarn by Half Baked Handdyed, Danny from Half Baked Handdyed. And the person that won this yarn has not got in contact with me at all. So I have redrawn a winner for this yarn from episode 14. And that winner, I'll put it up on the, I'll put a photo of the random comment picker up on the screen. And it's at Strawberry Finchy. So you're the new winner of this yarn. So please get in contact with me before the Bendigo Sheep Show via my email address, which I'll pop below. If you email me and let me know what your postal address is, I'll send you your prize for that giveaway. So congratulations. If I don't hear back from that person, I might just do a bit of a redraw until it's someone that I recognize, in terms of that I can reach out to them on Instagram and sort of make that connection, because otherwise I don't want somebody to miss out on this beautiful yarn. So yes, so get in contact with me for that. And last episode was my 1 year podiversary, which was very exciting, and I had a pattern giveaway on that episode. So the winner of that episode is at Catherine Griffith U7D. I'll pop the screenshot up here. So if you'd like to get in contact with me on my email address below or via Instagram, whichever is easiest for you, just let me know what pattern you'd like on Ravelry. It can be one of mine or it can be any other. I think I said under 15 Australian dollars. I'm happy to gift that pattern to you as a giveaway prize for my podiversary. So thank you everyone who commented and sent me lots of lovely notes, and congratulations for that 1 year. It certainly does go very quickly, so I'm very grateful for that. Just quickly, in terms of life stuff before we jump into the knitting, life has been very busy. When I started this channel last year, my job it wasn't as demanding and I had quite a lot of free time, but then I switched jobs after a few months, and my new job is really full on. It's really busy. I have lots of responsibility, which I love, but it doesn't leave much time for this kind of thing. So I'm really glad to be hopping on today to share what I've been making with you, because I have a lot. And I've been working on a really big project. I've been leading a big project at work for the last 10 months, and that project went live last week successfully, so that's great. But yeah, I'm just feeling really quite exhausted from all of that. So knitting has been bringing me lots of peace and comfort as a result of that. So it has been very busy, but I've been doing lots of good, fun, yarny things. I've been doing lots of knitting. I've released a couple of patterns, which has been really great. And I've gone to a couple of yarny events with friends and caught up with my knit group. So it has been, I have made time for the knitting, which has been fabulous. So there's only a few weeks to go to the Bendigo Sheep Show, which I'm very excited about. And a couple of weekends ago, I went to Melbourne Fibre Fest in Coburg, which was a really, really great event. And I'll show you later some yarn, just a little bit of yarn and a beautiful bag that I got from that event. And I did want to show you, I've released a couple of patterns since my last episode, one of which I'll show you now because I think I already showed it as a finished object last episode, and that is my Bendigo Mitts. So these are a sort of sister pattern to the Bendigo socks, which I released as part of the Bendigo project. So the Bendigo Mitts came out and so many of you showed your support and bought them and are knitting them up. And we really, really need them right now because it is freezing in Melbourne at the moment. But that's those there, and they've got this really beautiful striped ridge pattern and this sweet little cables that you don't need a cable needle for. They're very, very easy and they're very quick. One of these mitts took me 1 day, so you can get a pair of mitts in a couple of days. They're really, really fun and spectacular. So they're DK weight. You can either knit them up in 8-ply or fingering weight held double, but they're really, really fun. So they're the latest Bendigo Project pattern from me. So those were released, and I also released another pattern which I'll show you in a little bit because it's one of my finished objects. So probably the last thing is just the Bendigo Project. So hopefully you've been keeping up with the Instagram and Facebook posts giving you all the information about that. But there will be a meetup at the Bendigo Sheep Show if you're going to be there on the Saturday. We're all gathering at about 1:45 for a 2 o'clock photo of everyone with all of their Bendigo Project knits on, which will just be so fantastic. So whether you've made a jumper or a cowl or socks or mitts, come along if you're there on the Saturday meetup. I think it's just inside the main gate. Last year it's near where the donuts were. And yeah, we're going to take a really great photo of everyone in their Bendigo Project finished knits, so that'll be so much fun. So yeah, hope to see you there. And if you've been participating in the knit along, so I think it's hashtag the Bendigo Project Cal, make sure you pop your finished objects in the Ravelry thread or in the Facebook group, because we do have prizes that we'll be drawing for those, and I'll be donating a prize of some beautiful yarn and a free pattern to make up one of my patterns. So yeah, so I think that's everything. Why don't we jump into the knitting? I have 6 finished objects, but most of them are small, and 4 works in progress to share with you today, including what I'm wearing. So why don't we get into it? Okay, let's get into the finished objects. I'm going to leave you hanging with what I'm wearing at the moment, and we're going to start, I think, in date order, because that's what I made my notes in. So we'll start with my latest version of my Bendigo socks. So I think this was a work in progress in my last episode. So this is my finished pair of Bendigo socks. So this is my 3rd pair that I've knit up because they're so quick, especially in the DK weight gauge. So this is the Hot Jam Donut colorway that is the self-striping yarn by Danny from Half Baked Handdyed. This is her Hot Jam Donut colorway, and she has kits with this colorway with the pattern as well. And I did mine with the stripy ridged heel as per the pattern and the stripy toe. So it's just absolutely glorious, so much fun. I did them with an extra long leg because I wanted to be able to wear them with my Doc Martens at the sheep show to keep my feet toasty warm. and so they're going to be plenty long enough. I think I did, let's see how many repeats I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did 8 repeats of the cable pattern on the leg. So if you have this yarn and you're wanting to do a really long leg but you're not sure if you're going to run out, there's plenty of yarn to get 8 repeats, probably 9 in the leg if you're knitting the medium size, which is what I knit here. So yeah, so that's a really quick project. This is on 3.25mm needles, and I cast on the 16th of March and I finished on the 30th of April. And I think that's it. So this is obviously the Bendigo socks pattern by me. So the link for this pattern will be down below if you wanted to grab a copy. They come in both fingering weight and DK weight 8-ply patterns, so you can knit either. And the 8-ply, you've still got plenty of time left to knit a full pair of DK socks because they knit up so quickly. But yeah, really happy. That colorway is so fun. It actually goes really well with my jumper, which I just realized. Wonderful. That's an added bonus. So yeah, so you'll see me, if you're going to the show, you'll see me in these socks. They'll be under my boots and jeans, but I'll be wearing these to keep my feet warm. So that's finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is another pattern from the Bendigo Project collaboration. This one is not by me. This is the 4 Winds scarf by Susanna Kartinen of Sanna and Co. And so this is my finished 4 Winds scarf. So that's it there. That's it there. And it's this really lovely long sort of 2 triangles stuck together shape, whatever that shape is. Geometry is not my job at the moment. But it's absolutely beautiful. It knit up very quickly. It's a modular design, so there's actually 4 sort of triangle sections that you knit one after the other, and you pick up along the edges. So you start with this triangle here with these beautiful thick stripes, and you knit it up this way, and then you pick up along the edge and you knit this second triangle here. Then you pick up the 3rd triangle here, and then the 4th triangle in between, and then you pick up all the edge stitches and you do a border. Now the border, it's only 6 or 7 rounds, I can't remember, 6 or 7. I think I've blocked it from my memory because it was almost 1,000 stitches. So I really had to, it's a beautiful pattern, it's a lovely pattern, I really enjoyed knitting it, and it's quite quick, but I really had to force myself to knit those few rounds on the border because that is a lot of stitches, and it was quite tricky going around these corner sections. So but I'm really glad I finished it. The yarn that I used, so this yarn here, the bright orange, and it is very bright, is Purl Soho linen quill in bright flamingo. And I've got the leftovers just here. So that's it there. It's really bright. So it's bright flamingo linen quill, and that's quite a light fingering. So the shawl is very light. I think it'll actually be a really good transitional piece. I don't think it's a winter weight shawl. I think it's very much a spring weight shawl. And then this yarn here is Aimee sock, and it's in the colour Aimee's sweater, and I got that yarn from Sunspun here in Melbourne, and it was actually leftovers. I got some yarn and I knit up a Lento jumper, which I love, but I had a full skein left over because that jumper uses almost no yarn, so I used that skein in this shawl, and I thought it looks really pretty, those 2 colours together. And then this dark teal, which is just such a pretty colour. This is a Fibresmith watercolour sock yarn. I don't have the colour name for this one. It didn't have a colour name on it, but it's one of Leslie from Fibresmith's one of her beautiful kind of teal colours, which she does really beautiful colours. So yeah, so this one I knit up on 3.5mm needles. I cast it on the 10th of March and I finished it on the 17th of May, so it didn't take too long actually. And oh, I did make a mistake. Design choice. On triangle 2, I knit it, I finished it off, then I picked up for triangle 3, knit it, and then I got through triangle 4, and as I got to the end of triangle 4 I realized I was supposed to have an extra stripe here, but what I'd done was I'd actually missed the last little short row here, which was supposed to be in this green color. And I thought, well, if I haven't done it on this side, I should probably choose not to do it on this side, so I didn't. But it doesn't matter because you can just pick up however many stitches you need and make it work, so it doesn't matter. It's a design choice, not a mistake, and I did it on both sides, so you can't even tell. So yeah, so that one's really good, and I'm really pleased to have that and be able to wear it now, but it's probably not quite warm enough for winter, so that will go on the shelf up there for wearing during spring. I think that would be perfect. So my finished objects number 3 and 4 are actually my latest pattern that I released, and I knit these up so quickly. I didn't have them started, I don't think, in the last episode, but after I released the Bendigo Mitts, I had this beautiful skein of yarn from Melbourne City Dyeworks. It was one of Pauline's 8-ply Cheviot skeins, and my leftovers are here. Let me grab them. And it's just this beautiful yarn, really great colour, and I just had to do it justice by knitting it up into something that I'd be able to see and use and really show off this yarn. So I knit up a pattern that is kind of in my Melbourne family of patterns. So I have my Melbourne socks, which are my vanilla. It's a free pattern. They're my vanilla sock recipe for fingering weight. And I thought, well, I could do up some mitts that are just plain, really quick to knit up, but fit really well. And I basically knit them up into this beautiful pair of mitts using that yarn. So let me show you, because it's a really fun pattern. So it's super quick and easy. It fits, as you can see, it fits beautifully, and a lot of that comes down to this little ribbing feature that I've got on the side. So most of it is stockinette, so that's, you know, nice and soothing to knit, just knit. But just this little edge bit, which you get into a really good rhythm, is ribbing, and what that does is it just hugs your hand, so you can knit them for yourself, you can knit them for gift knits for anyone, and they'll just fit because they have that beautiful ribbing on the side. Very easy thumb gusset. You can adjust the cuff and the finger cuff. You can adjust them to suit however long you want those things, and they're just really quick to knit. I knit, again, 1 mitt in a day, so you can knit up a pair in, you know, a day and a half, 2 days. Really quick and easy, very warm. And this is the DK weight version of my Melbourne Mitts. So it's by me, Melbourne Mitts. And the colorway of this yarn is Maja, M-A-J-A, Maja, I think so. So I cast the first one on the 1st of May and I finished it, and then I waited until my test knitters were knitting it, and then I finished the other one. So I didn't cast off everything until the 1st of June, but they are very quick. And they knit up on 3.25mm and 3.75mm needles, just to get really lovely fit in both the stockinette and the ribbing. And I used 50 grams. So I still have 50 grams left over that I can use for something else. So really good if you've just got like a half skein laying about. You can knit it up in leftovers. You can use mini skeins. You can do whatever you like. But yeah, it's really quick, perfect gift knit. So they're the Melbourne Mitts in the DK weight gauge. And then my fourth finished object is actually the other version of the Melbourne Mitts, and that's these ones here. And this version is actually in fingering weight, so 4-ply yarn. So these are actually the Melbourne Mitts light pattern. And so this is, I've knit this up in self-striping yarn. This is from Dizzie Devil yarn from Shaz in Tasmania. That's where you are, isn't it? I'll double check that. But this colorway is spectacular, and this is called Melonhead, which I absolutely love. And when I got the yarn, I thought it was such a pity that I was going to knit it up and it'd be in my shoes, but I found the perfect project so that I can show off such gorgeous yarn. And so I used, it came with a pink mini skein, which I used on each of the edges and also on the thumb. And so the pattern actually tells you how to do that if you want to do a pop of colour on the two cuffs and on the thumb, or you can just use one plain colour, or you can use minis or scraps or whatever you like. They're really fun. So the fingering weight version of the Melbourne Mitts are otherwise the same in terms of the fit. They've got that ridge of ribbing on the edge to really make it hug. Otherwise, they're just really nicely fitting, very warm and cozy, completely adjustable in terms of how you want to knit them to how long you want them. And the fingering weight version only took 36 grams for me. So if you've just got leftovers from something sitting around and you want to make matching mitts, these are perfect. And I knit one mitt took me a day and a half in fingering weight. So they're very quick as well. I use 2.25mm needles and 2.75mm needles. And so I started these on the 2nd of May, and again, I didn't finish the second one until my testers finished, which was on the 1st of June. But yeah, so that's, I think that's everything I wanted to tell you about that one. Yeah. So this pattern came out recently, together with this one. They're listed separately on Ravelry, just because Ravelry is a bit weird. You can't list a pattern with 2 separate gauges, so I thought I'll split it up in 2. So if you search for 8-ply mitts, you'll get these. If you search for 4-ply mitts, you'll get these. But if you want both, there's actually a bundle deal where you get it at a really heavily discounted price. So you can just pop both in your cart and you automatically get the discounted price. You don't need to have a discount code or anything. So if you do want to be able to knit up both the DK weight and the fingering weight mitts, you can do that and you get a deal. So yeah, so they're my Melbourne Mitts pattern, which I'm really proud of, really pleased, and I'm so pleased that so many of you have also supported the pattern and are knitting them up, because they're not only really quick and fun, but they're definitely necessary at the moment because it is freezing. So yeah, so that was finished object 3 and 4. And then we have, what I'm wearing. So I won't keep you in suspense anymore. So my 5th finished object is what I'm wearing, and I'm so pleased to be finished and to be wearing it, and it is exactly what I wanted. So this jumper is the Storm Sweater by Petite Knit, and I knit this up in Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 8-ply, and it's in the colour Boysenberry, which is just the best colour. I love it so much. Now, this jumper was a bit of a journey. I cast this on last year. I don't have the dates down for some reason, but I cast this on last year, not long after Bendigo, and it's taken me this long, I think just because With jumpers I get a bit of a blocker sometimes. I get a bit stuck. I don't know, are you guys like that? Do you just sort of power through jumpers? For me it's a little bit of a, I get a bit stuck on worrying if the fit will be right, and then I get a bit stuck on the sleeves worrying about the length and things like that, but got through it. And the fit is really good. I knitted a size 6 because I wanted it ever so slightly kind of oversized, boxy, that kind of thing, which is perfect. I used the needles in the pattern, which were 4mm, and I used 3.5. And yeah, it's turned out really beautifully. Did have a bit of a speed bump though. So I knit the sleeves as per pattern. So I knit the number of sections as per the pattern. I tried it on. The sleeves seemed the right length, like a little bit long, but like not long, just sort of down on my hand. And I thought, well, for a cozy jumper, that's probably what I want. That's going to be perfect. I tried it on everything, so I sort of bound it off. I did Italian sewn bind off on all of the ribbing, so I'm really pleased with the finish that I got. And then I did the folded over collar, and I knitted that down because I always knit that down rather than sew it down at the end. So I did all of that, and then I blocked it. Now I haven't knit, I don't think I've finished something with this yarn before. I don't think I've blocked anything with this yarn, and I was really surprised by how much it grew. I thought it felt, when I was knitting with it, it felt really bouncy. It felt like it was going to spring back into shape, that I wasn't going to get much growth, and it grew a lot. I don't know if anyone else has had this experience with the Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury. It's beautiful and I love the finished product, but it grew so much. So the body is probably slightly longer than I was aiming for, but it's good. It's cozy. I like it. But the sleeves were so long. They stretched down to about here. And so I had to rip back, and so the jumper went in the naughty corner for a bit because I just had to come to terms with the fact that I was going to have to rip out my lovely Italian sewn bind off, rip out my beautiful ribbing, and then work out the length. Luckily, where it sat, what I worked out was it was an entire section too long. So I ripped the cuff back. I then ripped back the final section of the sleeve and I picked up along the top of the sort of double ridge line, and then I just knit a new cuff, and I did that on both. Italian sewn bind off, got it done. I got that done in 2 days because I knew if I put it in a corner for too long I would never pick it up again. And I'm so glad I did. So I reblocked the cuffs because they were all using squiggly yarn and the ribbing was a catastrophe, but it blocked out beautifully, and they're the absolute perfect length now, which is great. But yeah, I will know for future knitting with the Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury that it stretches. So yeah, if you haven't knit with it before and you're knitting something, just be really wary of how much it does grow. It's beautiful yarn though. So yeah, so that is finished object number 5. And then finished object number 6, it's finished, but it's my pattern that's currently in testing, and like at some point I'm gonna actually not have a test knit going because it's not actually my full-time job, and so I just have to kind of slow down and just take it easy. But I don't seem to be able to at the moment because I just have too many ideas. But the pattern that is in testing at the moment is another one in my collection, my Bendigo pattern collection. I thought, what would I want to have with my socks and with my mitts? And some of my test knitters were sort of saying, oh, I want a matching set. And so I designed a hat to go with the collection. And so what I have here is a finished hat. This is the Bendigo hat. Now is finished, but as you can see it still has stitch markers because it's in testing, and so I do like to kind of keep a track of where I did things on my pattern, so I can answer questions and I can finalize the pattern. So it's got some stitch markers happening. I also haven't blocked it, so it's not sort of laying as it will, but that's essentially, it's a beanie, a ribbed beanie, but it's got the beautiful cables that you'll find on the socks and the mitts. So these are the cables that don't require cable needles, and they knit up really, really beautifully in this hat. It's also got, this version has a folded over brim, I was going to say cuff, no, head cuff, brim, folded over brim with the striped ridges. So let me put it on and completely ruin my hair. Hang on, there we go. Oh, my hair looks crazy now. There we go. So yeah, so this is it. It'll look better once it's blocked, of course. But yeah, so this will be the pattern that's coming out soon. It's in test at the moment, and this is the version, my sample, that I have finished. Now I'm doing a couple of things differently from this sample with the pattern, so I'll tell you what those are, and then I'm actually knitting another sample at the moment, but I have done a different way to do the fold over, so I don't get this line of purl stitches on the outside, so that's going to be different. And I have gone down a needle size in the pattern where I didn't go down here, just on the striped ridges section, just to pull it in a little bit. Once you stretch it over your head, it's actually fine, but I think it just gives it a better shape if you do go down that needle size in the striped section, because it is stockinette. But yeah, it's really fun, and this yarn, how good is it? It's so good. So this is Woollen Works DK Merino, and this is in the Neon Lights colorway, and then these ridges are in Hodgepodge Skeins, just bright fluoro minis that I got out of her pick and mix bucket one year at the Bendigo show. So yeah, so that, absolutely beautiful. The yarn is gorgeous, so when I do block that and wear it, it's going to be lovely, and I'm looking forward to my second sample, which I'll show you in my works in progress. But yeah, so that's my finished Bendigo hat, so keep an eye out for that. I anticipate releasing it on or about the 11th of July, so about a week before the Bendigo Sheep Show. So if you wanted to buy it and knit it up, if you're a quick knitter, you'll have time, because my testers, some of my quickest testers, knit up the hat in 3 or 4 days. So it's actually a really, really quick knit. So yeah, that'll be out on the 11th of July, and that's my latest pattern that will be part of my Bendigo collection. So yeah, so the hat that I knit was a large size, because my head is large for all my brains, but it will come in 4 sizes, so it'll come in child, small, medium and large. And oh, there's 2 options as well. So I knit mine with the folded over brim, but it actually comes with the option of just doing a straight brim, which is obviously much quicker as well, because there's less straight bit to knit. So yeah, so that will be good. And my hat used around 65 grams, so again, you don't need a full skein. If you've got a good chunk of leftovers from something, that will be fine. So yeah, so those are all my finished objects. Why don't we have a look at works in progress now? Okay, now let's look at works in progress. So my first whip, and these are active whips, I obviously have a lot of whips, but these are the ones I'm working on at the moment. My first is another Bendigo Project pattern. This one is by Vera Marcu, and it's the long paddock jumper. So I'm knitting this up. It's in my Crystal Cat Stitchery bag. This is the first of the corduroy bags that I ever got from her, and it's one of my favorites. The size is great. So this is as I said, the long Paddock. I'm knitting it up in, I've got some extra skeins here because I need to wind these up to finish. I'm knitting it up in Blackwattle yarn and fibre. So this is an alpaca farm in the ACT, which I've actually been to. I've visited and gone to their store. This is the Sweet Pea 4-ply base, which is a singles base. So it's 400 meters, 400 grams. It's 60% merino, 20% alpaca, and 20% silk. It is luxurious, and the colorway is into the darkness. Ooh, there, into the darkness. There we go. And it's this absolutely beautiful blue with sort of really dark variegation, but not too variegated. But it's really, really pretty. So that's the yarn. And I think I showed this in my last episode, and I had just done the ribbing on the bottom because it's bottom up. So I think do I still have my stitch marker? I think I took it out because I needed it to for my decreases. I think I was up to about here. So I think I'd done the ribbing and I just started the stripes. I have finished the body, so here we go, and it looks crazy. So it looks totally misshapen because you've got half of the jumper that is horizontal textured stripes. So you've got reverse stockinette and stockinette creating these ridges, and then the other half of the jumper is vertical ribbing, and so you've got knits and purls in ribbing creating vertical stripes. But of course that creates this really funky push and pull kind of tension in the jumper that I'm told will block out. Let's hope. It's very, very drapey yarn. I'm holding, this is a DK weight pattern, so I am holding the 4-ply yarn double, so I didn't say that before. So I'm holding a double, so it's really, really squishy and going to be really cozy, but it will be drapey, and I'm hoping will block out into a normal shaped jumper. And I've picked up, so I finished the body, finished the front and the back, and then I did 3 needle bind offs on both shoulders. So you can see there the 3 needle bind off, which will block out nice and smooth. I did do a bit of a boo-boo. I don't know if you've ever done this when you are 3 needle binding off, where you knit the 2 needles, you knit the stitches together, but you fail to actually bind off any of the stitches. And so I got to the end and realized all my stitches were still on the needle, and that all I'd done was knit them all together. I hadn't actually bound them off. So that's all right. I just went back and then like slipped stitches and bound them off, and it was all fine. But I just thought, like, where's my brain sometimes? But that's okay. I got through that. And then I picked up the neck stitches, and so in one night I picked up stitches for the neck, knit the neck. I think I did 12 rounds of ribbing, 1 by 1 ribbing on the neck, and then you do a little stockinette, couple of rounds, and then bind off, and it gives you this really nice sort of kind of, I don't know, funnel neck type, like mini funnel neck. We'll see. It'll block out and it'll be really, really nice. And then I picked up one of my sleeves, and I have knit this much of my sleeve, and I have actually finished all of the decreases for this sleeve. So I've just got to knit about this much of stockinette, and then I can do the cuff, and that sleeve will be done. And then I can pick up the other one, do the other one, and I'm hoping to be done in time to wear it, block it and wear it at the Bendigo Sheep Show for the Bendigo Project. So wish me well. So, because I'm not a monogamous knitter, so having to work and really focus on one project in order to get it done in a time frame can sometimes be a little bit daunting for me. So we'll see. But it is lovely. So I'm knitting the size 5. I'm knitting the needles as per the pattern. I did 9.5 centimeters of hem, which is just a bit less than what the pattern says. I didn't want as much ribbing as was in the pattern, but I think it's still a really good amount of ribbing, which for me was 25 rounds. And I started it on the 16th of April, so I think I've done pretty well. Like, other people have, you know, finished it in that time, but I've knit on quite a lot of things and I think I'm doing quite well. Oh, and because I'm holding it double, so 2 skeins of that yarn got me to the split for sleeves, so I did the entire body up to where you split for sleeves with 2 skeins, and I am still on, but almost finished, still on my next 2 skeins. So that the next 2 skeins did the front, the back, the shoulder join, the neck, and most of sleeve 1. So I've got 2 skeins left. I reckon I will use less than half of that to finish it off. So yeah, so hopefully that gets done and I get to block it and it blocks out nicely, not so that it actually looks like a jumper, and then I'll be able to wear that in Bendigo. So that's my first work in progress and the one I'm probably spending the most time on at the moment. But I did cast on a completely random fun work in progress because my friend Judy, who has only just started knitting, she just finished her very first project, which was a garter stitch blanket, and she finished it so quickly. And she said, well, what should I knit next? And I said, well, how about a shawl? Because same sort of thing, you don't need to worry about it fitting, but you get a little bit more interest in terms of increases and some different stitches, so adding in some pearls, doing things like that. And so she thought that sounded like a good idea, and so I pointed her to the free Stephen West shawl, which is the Boneyard shawl. And I said, well, if you knit it, I've always wanted to knit it, but it's always sort of dropped down my list because it is really easy, and there's always something else I want to knit. But I thought, well, if you knit it, I'll knit it with you. We can have a bit of a knit along together. So that's what we did. So I cast on the 26th of May with Judy, and we're doing a bestie boneyard cowl. So if you're knitting the boneyard or you want to, join us, and yeah, use that hashtag if you want. It's pretty fun. But I'm using lovely little yarns who no longer dyes, but I had these really beautiful 2 skeins in my stash. So this is the colour is Simply Marvellous, and it's the Lovely Sock, which is 80/20, so it's 365 meters for 100 grams. And the colour, it's just so good. And so I had 2 skeins of that, which is perfect for doing the fingering weight version of the Boneyard shawl. And it's in, I'm holding it in this bag from Petite Knits, which is one of my favourite quilted bags. It's really bright, really lovely. It's just soft and wonderful. And here is where I'm up to in my Boneyard shawl. So this pattern is by Stephen West, as I said. It's free. It's one of, I think, his sort of beginner super easy shawls, which let me tell you a story about. And I'm knitting it on, well, I'm knitting it on 3.5mm needles, which is what the pattern recommends. When I started it, I thought, well, I always go up for Stephen West patterns, so I'm going to knit it on a 3.75, and I grabbed what I thought were my 3.75mm needles, and I started knitting, and I got to about the 3rd bone, which is this sort of pearl ridge, and I thought, this looks like, it looks tighter than I would expect on 3.75, and I checked my needles that I was using, and they were actually 3.25. Which I just thought, it's so typical. It's the easiest shawl. The shawls I've knit from him have been insane. The easiest possible shawl is the one I actually completely stuff up in terms of the wrong needles. but I wasn't going to rip out everything I'd done because I was knitting along with my friends. So I just thought, well, that's all right. I'm just going to change. So I switched at that point to 3.5 and thought, oh, the change in tension, you're not even going to notice and it will block out. And I think that's right. I don't think you can tell. And I thought if at any point I think I want to increase to 3.75, I can also do that. But I think I'm actually pretty happy with the tension I'm getting on 3.5, to be honest. So I think I'm going to stay. But I'm up to, how many bones do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am heading towards my 9th bone. So yeah. So that one's a really fun one, and it's the colorway is just sensational. So if you've got a couple of skeins that you're not quite sure what to do with, I can highly recommend that one. And it's a free pattern, which is perfect. So that's whip number 2. Whip number 3. Oh, I love this one. I love this one. I've got to say, pattern's not my favorite, but the actual project and how it's knitting up, I really, really like it. So this is in a bag that I got as part of my Hodgepodge Gemstones Advent last year, 2024. And this is my Daft Days cardigan by Rebecca Clow. So I am knitting this up and things are falling out. Going everywhere. I'm knitting this up using a couple of things. So the first one is Bendigo Woollen Mills Luxury, which I now know when you block it, it stretches, so that's good to know. It's the 8-ply Luxury in the colourway Stone, and that's it there. Really nice neutral colour, and which is really what you need, because against that is the entire palette of my Hodgepodge Skeins Gemstone Advent from 2024, which is just the most spectacular colour palette, and that's it here. So that's the back, which I finished. I finished the body completely. So each of the fronts has the entire Advent, including this bottom colour is the main skein, so it's actually got 25 stripes. The other front is there, and which is knit in the round, and the back. And you knit in the round, then you split for front and back and sides and whatever. You knit them, and then you do a 3 needle bind off, which I didn't stuff up on both sides, so those were bound off. And then I've started the sleeve, and I would have gotten further, but I then switched my focus to the long paddock because I really wanted to have that finished for Bendigo. I would have liked to finish this as well, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But this one has been less mindless than I hoped and that I would have liked, but I've actually really enjoyed it, mostly because of the colours. The colours are so good. So good. Kaz does such an amazing job, and I did get her Advent. I've pre-ordered her Advent for this year, which I'm very excited about. So what have I done with this one? So this is the Daft Days cardigan by Rebecca Clow. I started it on the 12th of April. I am using 3.75mm and 3.5mm needles, which I think is as per the pattern. No, I think it says to go down to a 3.25, but I didn't want the ribbing to really like cinch in, so I've only gone down to 3.5. I'm making the size 6, which might be, I could have gotten away with a size 5, but I just thought for a cardigan, I don't mind if it's a little bit oversized, because this one, the sort of dense nature of the stitch pattern as well, it's going to be more like a jacket, I think, than a cardigan. But what I've had to do, because you have to sort of adjust it depending on your gauge, and to work out, I wanted the full set of Advent stripes, so I had to work out where to split for sleeves so that I then would have the right number of stripes left and that kind of thing. So I had to actually do quite a lot of maths, but I've done that and it's all in my project page. So if your gauge is the same as mine, which if you check my project page, I've got like the measurements of how many stripes I have in a particular length, then all my calculations for how many stripes I needed to do are all there. So I hope that helps someone, because I had to do a lot of thinking on this one. But yeah, but it's worked out really, really well. And now I'm just going to knit the sleeves, do the cuffs, and then I have to pick up the big long neckband. So that's why I think I won't be done for Bendigo for this one, which is a pity, but that's okay. It's a really great project. I'm really enjoying it. Although the pattern is not, the style of writing in the pattern is not my favourite. There is a lot. This stitch pattern, it's sort of a broken ribbish kind of thing, sort of. And so there's a lot of where there's decreases and increases and things. It just says knit in pattern, knit in pattern, knit in pattern, which to my mind requires me to then work out what I need to do. And I have to say, controversial opinion, but I don't love it when a pattern tells me to knit in pattern. If there's different things I need to do because there's increases and decreases, I knit to relax, and I knit to you know, sort of be mindful, and I don't want to have to think a lot. So I'd really prefer, if I'm buying a pattern, I want the designer to tell me, you know, if there's increases and decreases, what exactly I should be doing, so that I don't have to kind of guess. But that's just my little controversial opinion there. But yeah, so that is my Daft Days cardigan, which I'm really enjoying actually, in terms of those really beautiful colours. It's really nice to knit up Advent yarn into something that I know I'm going to wear and really enjoy. So my very last work in progress is actually my second sample of my Bendigo hat. So I'll just quickly show you because I've already talked about it. But this is my second sample. Again, I've got this yarn here. The Ridges yarn is Hodgepodge Skeins minis. That she just had these beautiful fluoro minis, so I've been able to use them in so many things. And this yarn is again Woollen Works, but it's actually fingering weight held double. So it's a DK weight hat, but you can use DK weight, fingering weight held double, or fingering weight held with mohair. And it's got the little cables, and I'm up to the decreases. So this one won't take me too long, and you'll see how the the fold over brim on this isn't quite as loosey-goosey, because I did go down that needle size. So, and this one is actually a size medium, which will be firm on me but will fit my daughter as well, so either of us can wear it if we want to. But yeah, so that's, I've got a little bit left to go. I'm knitting along with my test knitters at the moment, and there's some really beautiful versions that everybody's knitting up in the test group, and there's plenty of people who have knit the socks and the mitts, and they're doing their hat to match them all, so that's really fun as well. So yeah, so they're all my works in progress. So I did want to show you some acquisitions really quickly, because I went to Melbourne Fibre Fest a couple of weekends ago, and I got some really, really fun things. So the first thing I got was this really, really great bag. So this bag's from Crystal Cat Stitchery. There's her label there, and it's one of her corduroy bags. I've popped a little pin on it that I got from Danny at Half Baked Handdyed, but it's in this absolutely beautiful green colour, which it's not quite, it looks like a grass green, but it's actually, in person, it's more like a emerald green is the word I'm going for, emerald green. But yeah, I love the big size of it, and they're just beautifully made. So I did get just a few little bits of yarn at the show. So I got a couple of bright silk mohairs from Maximu Yarns. So this one is called Love is in the Air, and it's a beautiful fluoro pink. And this one is called Chlorophyll, and it's this really great fluoro green. And I just thought they'd be cool to have in the stash as things for, you know, Stephen West shawls or other projects that come up. I also got this amazing self-striping yarn from Heather Made, which is called Fluoro Fling, and just look at those colours. So that's fingering weight self-striping. So very excited to knit that up at some time in the future. And I also got a DK weight self-striping from Half Baked Handdyed, but I've already started knitting it up. But I'll give you, there's the colorway. Now I can give you a sneak peek because it's a future pattern. I just couldn't help but cast on this beautiful, beautiful color. So this colorway from Danny is called Dodie. So it's Half Baked Handdyed, and it's the DK weight self-striping in Dodie. And I'm knitting up some DK weight socks with a really fun wavy pattern all the way along the leg. So this I'm gonna write it up as a pattern, but there are a couple of other patterns that I want to do first. So this one will be coming in the future. Let me know if you want it sooner than that, because I can always write it up. It shouldn't be too hard. But I do want to try out the forethought heel with this pattern because I haven't done that in one of my patterns before. So I just like to suggest different heels and things so that people can give new techniques a try out, because they're it's fun to sort of try different things and see which ones you like doing best. So yeah, so that's all of my projects, my finished objects, some of my active whips, and a few of my acquisitions. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks for being patient with the gaps between episodes. I'm not going to apologize because this is a fun thing I do on the side, but I do miss it when I don't get time to do it. So I'm glad I had time to sit down, and I'm really grateful if you're watching this. Certainly leave me a comment if you want to stick a little love heart if you've made it this far, and you've got a comment, just maybe pop a little love heart emoji in there so that I know you made it this far. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone that's going to be at the Bendigo Sheep Show. Come up and say hi. I'm really looking forward to going and to meeting lots of people and chatting to people at the show as well, and seeing you all at the meetup on Saturday at 1:45 p.m. So yeah, so thanks very much, and I hope you enjoy what you're knitting on at the moment, and happy making. Bye.